Hey, SnapFlash fam! Big news from Gaborone. The city just got a taste of the world, one glass at a time. The brand new World of Wines opened its doors with Vintages, a 3-day luxury wine tasting event led by none other than global wine guru Hervé Delabesse. Imagine traveling around the world in 8 glasses, from France to Argentina, Italy to South Africa, without leaving Botswana. That's exactly what went down at this exclusive event. Before we swirl and sip into the details, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a taste of culture, lifestyle, and big stories across Africa.
Excellent choice. Enjoy the grapes.
Hosted at the chic Massa Square Piazza, Vintages drew wine lovers, hospitality pros, and culture enthusiasts.
So selectively we are distributing wine thanks to Mr. Hervé, who's from South Africa but born and raised in France in the Loire Valley. And he's doing a joint venture in terms of having to collaborate with World of Wines, which is quite an interesting journey because we've been drinking so much of known wines in our country, and they do have exceptional wines from exceptional vineyards, and they have interesting stories. But without ado, I'll be handing over to Mme Cheryl to help welcome all our guests today. Thank you, thank you.
When I came here, I saw actually a lot of the opportunity that is being mentioned with regards to our location and with regards to economic diversification. Economic diversification in Botswana is easy. You have no idea. And I say this having come and traveled and worked across Africa in really third world countries, having been exposed to the international communities, thanks to Patrick and his friend, who's a Swiss architect originating from Lebanon, who flew down to come here and design this space. And why was that important? It was important that we benchmark against the best. If we want to be the best, we must benchmark. And why is it important to benchmark? We want to leapfrog. We can't spend 200 years becoming a first world country. We don't have that time. So we need to leapfrog and have a leapfrog approach. So she came down and taught our locals a lot. It's been hard. It's been 2 years trying to find suppliers, trying to find the talent that does exist. And I'm proud to say that everything here, from the manufacturing of the cupboards to this bar that she actually designed and was then manufactured in Botswana, everything here is 100% locally created, curated, and created. The other important part of that is it allows us as locals to inspire each other, you know. And one pain point was that everyone said, Botswana don't like this, they just want this and they just want that. And I find that very derogatory for people to say that about us. And therefore I said to Patrick, I said, you know what? The only choice we have, let's bring the vineyards here and let's create a tasting room and show them that Botswana have got heightened and very refined tastes. And that also comes from our food and our local produce. Our beef is organic, our chicken, a lot of the indigenous ingredients you find, the herbs and so forth, are all available locally, and they've got amazing healing effects. So we had to prove international people wrong, that actually it is possible. The next part that was possible was to create a franchise. Now, I don't know if there's a franchise that exists in Botswana that has been exported or bought by another country.
Choppies.
No.
Sorry, what?
Sorry, what? And sorry, that's not a franchise. It's an owned, Botswana-owned businesses that is operated and owned by the entity. It is not the international or outside market buying into it. We are expanding, and that is one of the brands that one of our guests sits on the board of. I will not be advertising it unless they're paying. Okay, so we wanted, and I realized, having worked with various franchises, Yum Brand, which owns the KFCs in the US, Domino's and McDonald's. And I realized that some people, it's just a couple, they start a concept, and in 2 years it just grows exponentially. So we decided, let's create a franchise, and right now we have at least 3 entities on the waiting list. We are operating soon in Matola under World of Wines in Mozambique. We are creating express entities in Lusaka International Airport and Vic Falls International Airport under World of Wines Botswana. And all these people that are buying product, doesn't matter where I'm buying it from, thank you, Hervé. The money's coming here, and it is staying here. Because we have one passport, and we have got a country to go, and we've got children that we need to leave, that mustn't fight as hard as they're fighting right now, you know. And yes, so we decided to bring it home. And he's got Botswana kids right now, so he has no choice. So,
and I have school fees.
So yes, so now you see money going to Kumagwani and so forth, and Timotlabe. And in closing, another very important thing, we are saying tourism after the diamond sector is the next largest contributor to our GDP. Has anyone asked yourself, these international clients that come and visit us, do they enjoy their experience in Botswana? Is our hospitality on point? No, because we all complain. See silence.
In some parts.
Some parts.
Yeah.
Oh, how? Yes. Thank
Until
you.
now.
Yes, thank you. And let me share about the experience. Botswana are welcoming, hospitable, kind, amazing individuals. And but what we are doing is we are letting down our front of house, we're letting down our hospitality sector. Why do I say that? If you ask most of the people, Sauvignon Blanc, can they say it? No? Red, white. So if I...
Oh wow.
But it's true. It's true. It's true.
That's blanc. You don't pronounce the C.
Oh wow.
But it's true. So we are capacitating. There's a lot of people that come, they can't speak English. You know, Hervé's trying. You know, and they've got their preference. You know, the winemaking. I mean, just in it's been moved. 500 years. We are 58. I don't like you. Go to the back of the class. So we are a 58-year independent country. This is one family, Ilipana. 500 years in one family. This is legacy. This is craftsmanship. If I am from this area, my palate is used to something different. So if we're saying most of our tourism is from the international community, how are we catering to them? How are we meeting them halfway? We can't give them chibuku. It's not fair.
You have to taste it.
Yeah, they can taste it, but it's not fair. It's not fair, you know? So this is another thing that we're also trying to teach the F&B managers that also equally need our exposure and education. That for you to service and retain people and compete with Maldives and water when we've got... Yes, you've been there. Have you been to the Delta? Okay, thank you. But to retain our tourism and to have return clients, we need to make sure that the experience is top notch.
You're very right.
Yes.
The reason why we're here today, it's because of love. Love of wine. Hervé is here in South Africa because it was a love story that brought him to South Africa. He might share it or not after. And the reason I'm in Botswana is as well because of love, because I have the heart, because because of love. And yeah, and so then first I want to introduce first Renee, who's our curator, which 95% of the art here comes from her. And just to say a few words, and then I'll introduce Mandy, who's going to bring us some amazing sushi and oysters straight from Botswana.
When I started working, there was this sense that things had dwindled a bit. And the last 20 years of working within the arts in Botswana and the creative industries is to resuscitate or to find a renaissance of sorts from what started in the 90s in Botswana. So that's where Recurate began. And I was very fortunate to have an offer from Cheryl. I would say, when did we actually touch base with Cheryl? It was about 2 years ago. We touched base and she said, "Oh, are you still doing the art thing?" Because we knew each other when I was running a gallery locally here previously. And I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "We should do something because we work a lot with artists in South Africa." I was like, "Okay, that would be great." 2 years later, I don't think she was even yet really settled at that point. And then in May, reached out to me and said, "We have now got a space that we're opening." I call it a wine tasting salon. I like that sound too. And we actually like to activate the space and make it into a gallery of sorts. And I said, "I'm very interested. I do not have a physical space because it's very difficult to sustain a physical gallery space in Botswana." And so this has been a really serendipitous time for me as my company is growing and looking for. I actually am happy to showcase my artists in various different locations because I think we are a society that is very unique. We are developing as we develop. We are not Joburg, we are not Lagos, we are not Cape Town, we're certainly not New York. So we have to make it work for our way of life. And lifestyle is increasingly becoming important to the middle class. And so for art to be shown in these kind of settings is what gives people that, that feeling that, actually this is really lovely. I'd like to have this in my home. And so I'm very fortunate to have partnered with SMCG, World of Wines, and we curate the space, we change up our collection every 2 months. So as you come from time to time, please do come again every couple of weeks, if not every other day, to have a glass of wine.
Why not?
Why not? You'll be fortunate to keep having the pleasure of seeing new work. Cheryl had mentioned legacy, and that's really something that is at the heart of what we do. We want to create legacy for these artists who I have all known personally and worked with personally and seen growing as people, as artists over the years. And so that's who I am, this is why I do what I do, and I believe that as you invest in our local artists, and I represent predominantly female artists, local artists only. So they may be Botswana, they may be residents who have lived in Botswana for a very long time. I don't just represent anybody. As they grow in, some are getting famous, yes, in value. Now's the time to start slowly buying and collecting their work, not just for the sake of value, not because they're assets they are, but because they do bring something to your life and they do change. They change how you perceive the world out there. So it is an investment in yourself as well as in the artist.
Over 2 evenings, Delabesse, famously known as the champagne and rare fine wine guy, walked guests through a curated selection of 8 wines from 7 countries.
So it's actually going to be an interesting flight to compare because we're going to have 2 wines that share a lot of similarities from a cultivar perspective, but then core differences when it comes to terroir perspective. The first one we're going to pour is one that I believe quite a few of you have been familiar with, which is called Terra Linda. Now, Terra Linda, that means beautiful land. Linda means beautiful, terra means land. Remember terroir, terra, talking about the same thing here. So this is a wine that comes from the center of Spain. It's around the area of Valencia, which is inland, and it's a warmer area. It's continental, a bit more in altitude, but it gets very warm in summer there. And that is pretty much the origin of a cultivar called Garnacha, which you know as Grenache as well. So this one is 100% Garnacha. It's actually more of a cooperative style. We've got quite a few other growers from that area, which is quite a poor area in Spain, but decided let's team up, let's make a wine together in this way. Garnacha is very heat resilient, and actually I think it will have quite a bright future in South Africa. It grows in bush vines, so you actually have vines that are quite spaced out. Bush vines, that means you don't train them, you don't trace them. You let it grow as a bush, but it protects from the sun a lot more because you've got leaves pretty much everywhere covering the bunch from the sun. And these areas are quite poor when it comes to water, so that way they space maybe like 2 meters from one another. So there's a lot of space, but a lot of low yields in that way. And Garnacha also is very long-lived. It thrives in this climate. And Garnacha gives 2 different spectrum. On a cooler climate, a bit more on the red fruit. On a warmer climate, more on the dark fruit. It's very similar to Pinot Noir. Actually, we would tend to say that Grenache is a great introduction to Pinot Noir in general. And here we're going to have a warm expression of Garnacha. So we're going to have dark, broody, and always a note of licorice when you talk about Grenache. That always kind of resonates, the licorice that comes through. So this one has been, and Grenache doesn't like too much wood barrels, so most of the time it's concrete with only a little touch of oak that way. So that's the Terra Linda Garnacha, which is fast becoming a bestseller. Yeah, can go ahead. The punt.
The fun, yeah.
The punt, yes. No,
We'll go to the one that bought the box of 6.
My son is very happy because he likes red wine.
Attendees were welcomed with sparkling drinks, a charcuterie spread of fine cheeses, seafood, and vegan bites, plus an official certificate of participation. The finale was all about champagne and sparkling wines paired with oysters, sushi, and caviar, a luxury tasting experience created with blue water fishing. But Vintages wasn't just about sipping. The venue also doubled as a cultural hub with art exhibitions curated by Recurate and works from the Kuru Art Collective, giving guests a taste of Botswana's heritage alongside their glasses. With partnerships with Brand Botswana and Pusha BW, the event also promoted locally crafted products, blending global flavors with local pride.
When we returned and decided to move our distribution depot from South Africa to Botswana, and that's because of the location of Botswana. You'll be surprised, even though I'm in Cape Town, the distance to Namibia is closer from Gaborone. So in terms of diversification, sometimes to get to a point where you're manufacturing a product or producing a finished good might take time. So how can we leapfrog? How can we jump to get to this economic diversification and see more revenue coming into local? And if we look at South Africa, a lot of the products there are imported, repackaged in a brand and sold out. So you can take it like a retailer. The retailers, supermarkets, they will have milk from outside or different commodities that they distribute here and sometimes sell across borders. So with the advantage we have as Botswana, we are able to assist the rest of Africa and reduce their distance of travel to South Africa by retailing and reselling in Botswana. While we do that, we're also then creating a route to market for the rest of the products. And that's my intention. Where we are selling wine in Mozambique, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Angola, Switzerland, and we've exported to America, but it's very complicated because of the rules. We then send out the Botswana products at the same time. We license countries to use our brand, which allows them to get the same prices and rates that we get from an Hervé. Hervé is one of the largest importers into South Africa. So that's our interest in terms of seeing Botswana being elevated. And when we came to the market 2 years ago, we had a bit of a challenge in terms of people saying, I don't know this product, I don't know that. And like soft drinks, there are many options in the world. We then said it's best to then bring the vineyard tasting room concept to Botswana. And then we make it into a franchise, because then we are a testimonial that you don't only have to be a buyer of franchises. You can create your own one. You can create a Rotse, something franchise and export it. Trust me, somebody out there wants to buy it. And that's what we want to show people. You know.
Thank you very much for that lovely explanation. You were holding that product. Are these products all locally made in Botswana? Is it a Pusha BW product, or so you're carrying different brands for locals, serving small to medium enterprises? Can you just take us through a little bit?
Yes, so I went to BITC, to Brand Botswana, and I asked them for a list of all their local producers because of Pusha BW being at the airport. And you see, this is the other thing about Ashley. You come into the frame. You know, customer service is so key. As I'm talking, he's listening and he's supporting. And this are handcrafted chocolate infused with fruit.
And just to give you an overview about the fruits, this one is a pistachio infused chocolate, and she has a strawberry infused chocolate over to the side, and this one is a lime zest infusion, and this one is a granadilla infusion, and this one is more so to say a mix of the granadilla and the lime, which actually is interesting. But just to give you an overview about the chocolates themselves, it was interesting when they came in contact with Memshol and Mr. Patrick, the owners of the space. So they did a chocolate and wine pairing test, of which Memshol was like, I'm not quite sure if chocolates are going to go well with wine, but when they had 2 or 3 of the chocolates, they were really sold on the...
And I was laughing at the lady, Vilanomi Morris, she was a banker, and she went to go and teach herself. So when we were eating them, it was like, and she was looking like, what's going on? You know, she couldn't understand it. But chocolates and wine pairing is a thing internationally. So can you imagine? We have our resorts, we have
and these are locally made?
100%. Hand. This little dot is hand and consistent. So I'm very impressed, I'm very proud. I haven't seen so much local products of such quality being made across my entire working life in Africa. You know, Patrick has been to 23 African countries. I've been to a bit less. You know, and the level that Botswana is at is up there, 100%. And I'm 16 years having lived in South Africa too. Again, you do not get so many natural products out of Botswana, and the taste, the organicness, the health benefits that we can export in this universe where everyone is about health and wealth and so on. And then again, my personal project as being a former fine arts student is the arts. There's nothing more beautiful than having natural artwork in your house than as opposed to the print. So we're offering people a payment plan to meet them halfway. And the other thing is with these artists, they have no permanent place. So you have an exhibition for one day, but if today you catch me, I have no money, they lose the sale. So I said, well, how do we fix this problem? When I came and COVID and the arts and the creatives and the financial challenges they were having. I mean, the musicians, I hope I can assist somewhere with some solutions, but in due course.
So SMG and the World of Wines is basically offering itself as a market for young local artists, young entrepreneurs in Botswana, or just basically entrepreneurs. Yeah, I mean, they don't have to be young, but you're offering this place as an outlet, as a marketing outlet for locally produced products.
Yes. And you know, we've already paid the rent. We're paying the rent. You know, it's not easy. It's taken us a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Downgrading this, eating Gaborone and cabbage on nights. I'm joking, but you know, you have to make your sacrifices. Nothing comes out easy. So yes, we want to encourage, we want to stimulate entrepreneurship and growth. We want to see them in Switzerland and Geneva, where we are selling some of the wines, and now we are selling these products and saying, buy Botswana, buy Botswana.
World of Wines isn't just a store, it's a lifestyle destination. Expect elegant glassware, rare vintages by the glass, and even education on wine appreciation, making Gaborone a rising hub for wine tourism. As Hervé Delabesse explained, wine isn't just a drink, it's culture, history, and connection. And now Botswana is part of that global story.
The French wine, nice.
Like everything in wine, there is a story behind it. And I was really told that way before, in the past. Eventually I trademarked it for South Africa. And eventually later on I also became known as the CEO, the Champagne Experience Officer. So obviously that's what I do. I own an importing and distribution business in South Africa called Premier Cru Wines, and it's essentially boutique exclusive wines. But what I focus on is essentially about storytelling, talking about moments, and accompanying people through their discovery and their journey in the world of wine. And I've arrived in Botswana yesterday to support my representative here in Botswana, which is SNCG, which owns World of Wine, but just recently now. So I'm here to actually assist them in broadcasting, telling the stories about the wine, engaging with their new clients as well, and getting started on that journey together.
Can you share a little bit more about the Cru wines, Premier Cru? That's the name of the wine.
So that's the name of my business in South Africa. What it means, it's actually a wine of higher caliber of a vineyard that produces it. And that's related to what we call classification of wines.
So you do like higher level wines. That's very good.
Correct.
Boutique
Yes.
wines.
Yeah, so signature is champagne and fine wine. It is a lot of boutique, but we have great value, boutique and prestige wines in the process. Because
you have a range.
Yes, because you have to start somewhere. But what we focus on as well, I mean, we import wines from all around the world. In South Africa, I also resell South African wines, and it's really about expressing the differences. That's the most important, because every single winemaking country in the world produces world-class wines, and that's the distinctive. That's what we call the terroir, and the terroir is the DNA. And it's pretty much as we all have our own genes and our DNA, and that express our unique abilities and education. The same thing happens with terroir. And terroir is a combination of three factors, which is the climate, the soil, and the culture. So all of that combination, you cannot mimic, you cannot replicate. You can only express it at its best, and that gives the differences that you have in the wines. And that's why what we endeavor to do is to accompany people to appreciate these differences and find what suits them best.
So, do you own these vineyards to produce these different tiers of wine? Or you just do the bottling and the mixing of it such that it comes out the way
So I'm more of a messenger in that sense. So I choose, I pick, because there's hundreds of thousands of amazing wines around the world. But I select portfolio. So in South Africa I have 400 wines, and which is only a fraction of everything available, but that I've selected, that I appreciate to suit that vision and the journey that I want to take clients with. But I don't own vineyards. I'm an importer, a distributor, and what we do is representation for wines, bespoke experiences, also what I call wine concierge, sourcing wines from all around the world. Because if somebody says, oh, I've been traveling to Italy and I love this wine, can you get it for me? Yes, I can. Then the question is time frame, budget, there's a lot of other parameters. So right now, for instance, I was sourcing a bottle of 1975 Magnum bottle from Bordeaux for a client who's going to celebrate his 50th birthday next week.
Very nice. Bordeaux wine is always very good. And why Botswana? You've been in South Africa, you've been all over the world, you've talked about climate. We have a really hot climate here. Why did you choose Botswana?
Well, it makes you thirsty, doesn't it? So I mean, we representing nationwide in South Africa and also across the borders as well, because I mean, within the SADC, the idea is to get access to the markets and to the clientele. So obviously, across the border, we need partners, and that's where SNCG comes in with World of Wine. They're all partners on this side of the border, and we're also developing a partnership into other countries as they expand their networks too. We're talking about Namibia, we're talking about Mozambique, and we're even talking about Zambia.
Regional.
All the SADC countries is pretty much where we can expand our footprints.
How long have you been doing what you do?
More than 10 years. And I've been living in South Africa for over 10 years. I mean, you can maybe get a hint of a Johannesburg accent in my Frenchness.
Not at all.
No, not yet, man.
Very nice. So you've been basically a Southern African native.
I'm a first generation immigrant.
Absolutely. So we heard you're going to teach us a little bit about winemaking. Are we having a master class tonight? Should we be looking forward to learning something?
Well, that's the objective. You know, it's I mean, there is a term that we use a lot in the wine industry, which is wine education. I don't believe that we push education to people. I believe we craft a desire. And then when you're interested, when you're curious, you do the rest of the research yourself. So the idea is to nurture that desire today, to accompany you and to trigger that journey and that drive to read, to research, to discover, to explore, to taste wines in your own way. So the idea is to get you started.
Oh, okay. So we look forward to hearing what you have for us. And thank you so much for Grace in Botswana. You haven't mentioned anything about the tourist offerings. You talked about premier wines, and you know, tourism in Botswana is the second GDP contributor after diamonds. You know, so we were wondering, have you partnered with the Botswana Tourism Organization here locally? Are you doing any work to, you know, make sure that your wines are out there and being appreciated in Botswana?
So we're definitely doing efforts in that area, and you're 100% right. That is a core area that we're exploring. I have been working directly with some of the lodges around. I can mention Great Plains Conservation, that has been a great partner and client over the last few years. I was in Okavango last year to support that in Maun. I was actually very impressed at the way that Maun airport was buzzing. So many little planes taking
more
up
life
and going
there than there
everywhere.
is here.
In a different life. I love the energy of the people in Gaborone. There's really, and there's a thirst for discovery as well. Since yesterday, you know, people have been very curious, very engaged, asking a lot of questions. So, and to go back to tourism in Botswana, I know that SMCG has partnered with Botswana Tourism to further engage, especially with the luxury game lodges.
Oh, great. So you'll be empowering young people, you'll be empowering other demographics here, because we are trying to diversify the economy. So business like yours is always welcome in the country.
Correct. And it follows the development of hospitality and services. Wine is hospitality, wine is about sharing, and the moment you talk about hotels, restaurants, wine bars, retail, you obviously support the growth of the local economy.
So here's the question. Fam, should Gaborone embrace more luxury lifestyle events like this to boost its cultural and tourism scene? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you'd raise a glass to that, smash the like button and subscribe for more SnapFlash stories that connect Africa to the world. From global vintages to local art, the Vintages wine experience just proved that Gaborone's glass isn't half full. It's overflowing with flavor, culture, and pride.